Hey everyone, I'm Angela Fazio. My partner in crime, Kristen, couldn't make it today, but you're watching Moms in Real Estate spinoff, Girl Educate Yourself. And today's guest is Amber Krisky. She's from Portland, Oregon. I'm super proud to have her on the show. She's going to be talking about a very important topic for women, and it's centered around being in abusive relationships. She's got 6 kids. She kills it in real estate. She does it all by herself. So you are just going to love her message. Welcome, Amber. I'm so excited to have you on the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm super excited to be on the show. Thank you for inviting me. A little bit about myself. I was in a abusive marriage for about 20 years. Didn't realize it was abusive until about 16 years into it, just because I thought that it was like, oh, it's only abusive if you have a black eye. And that's not the case. Anyway, so, and I have 6 kids, live in Portland. In my spare time, which isn't much, I'm a runner. That's how I keep my sanity. But yeah, I have a lot to say. So I'm super appreciative of the time that you're giving me today to talk about this really important
topic. This is important. This is important because I know myself and many other women will deny a situation that they're in. And so you're going to help us, I think, with like, what does it look like sometimes? And what are some warning signs? And how can I am amazed. Wait till you guys hear. She spent 4 years, right? Planning to get out of her situation. We need to hear about it all. So you start wherever you want.
Yeah. So I think with me, and again, I'm not a counselor. I'm not an advisor. I'm just talking about my own experience. But with me, it started, when I was growing up, I had amazing parents, but just it kind of it was hard because I was used to a certain dynamic in my family. And so then I met my husband-to-be when I was 20, and he was a lot older than me when he was 32, and he'd been married before. And I was just naive. There were a lot of red flags that I should have seen when I was 20, but I was 20. Like, who sees those? And, it was in the 90s too. So a lot of this wasn't really talked about. It was more physical abuse and not any of the other types. And so, got married, had kids right away. We were a pretty religious family. I grew up very religious. So the whole, dynamic there was forgive, 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 and families are forever. And that was really hard. It was really hard to try to reconcile what I was learning at church versus what I knew to be right. So basically, fast forward 16 years. So had a bunch of kids, twins thrown in there. And then about at year 16, I started getting super depressed. Couldn't figure out why. Suicidal. It was really scary. And then actually went to go see an LDS social services person. And then I just kind of emotionally vomited, kind of told her everything that was going on in my life. And I had never shared that with anybody, besides just snippets to friends, but not a whole picture at all. And her jaw just dropped. And she was like, Amber, you're in an abusive marriage. And I was like, what? That's not me. Like, I've got a great marriage. I don't have a black eye. And she pointed out, she basically gave me a piece of paper. And this is something that I shared with you, Angela, that's basically the Duluth model.org.
Should I pull it up, Amber? So people can see it?
Pull it up? Yeah.
I will.
So this was really the pivotal moment in my marriage where I got shown this because I couldn't believe it. And this is called the power and control wheel. And so you can see there is, how many are there? 8 types of categories where if you're in an abusive relationship, it will show you ways that you are being abused without even knowing. So, there's obviously topics using intimidation. With me, it was breaking things. So that is actually a form of physical abuse that I didn't know, because that object that's being broken is a manifestation of the person. So first it started out with me. It started out with him breaking his stuff when he got angry. And then it transitioned to my stuff. And it became bigger and bigger things as time went on. So it was my phone, then it was my computer, then it was my car that he was breaking, smashing, destroying. And then it moved on to my kids' things. So that's one type. Emotional abuse is, you know, making someone feel like they're crazy, doing crazy things that make the person go, just react because they're crazy. And then they say,
yeah, stop with that one. I think that I think this one, I think if people are breaking things, you know, that should be a pretty big red flag. But it starts that crazy thing, because that was one of the things that happened in my life, making me like, I'm a crazy person.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little more?
Yeah. So they do things to make you feel like they do bad things, and then you react out of it, and then they go, see, I told you you're crazy. That's crazy. And so that is gaslighting, where, you know, that's kind of the term for it now. It wasn't really known very, very much back then, where, you know, put me on the spot, I can't think of anything. But basically there was one instance where it is crazy now looking back on it. But basically I have a very tender heart, and we had a bird get stuck in the pillars of our house. And my kids walked outside and they're freaking out about this bird. And my husband was very, very particular about our house, how our house looked. I mean, it had to be pristine at all times. It had to look like a model home. We lived on a very big house on the top of a hill. And in no way, shape, or form could that house's outside exterior be marred. So anyway, my kids are crying. They can hear the bird stuck in the pillar. And I'm telling my husband, we've got to take this pillar apart. Like, the bird is going to die. The kids are all upset. Nope, don't touch the bird. The bird is, you know, crazy. It's just, no, we're not, the bird is going to die. That's the way it's going to happen. So I called my dad, who lives about 5 minutes away. He came out and took the pillar apart and fixed the bird. I got the bird out. The bird flew away. All the kids were happy day. Put the thing back together. Didn't even look like anything was damaged. Everything was fine. My husband got home. It was bad. Very, very emotionally abusive, very verbally abusive, made it seem like what I did was completely horrible. And I was crazy to take apart a pillar in a house to be able to try to save a bird. And they proceeded to order a $5,000 couch online that we had a disagreement with, because I was like, that's great. You know what I mean? So that was my punishment. It was basically 5 days of silent treatment, ordering whatever he wanted, because if I'm not going to listen to him, he's not going to listen to me. That was the kind of stuff. That was one.
Yeah. So how can you help women to identify like warning signs, or like, hey, maybe if this is happening, you should say, maybe that's me.
So I think looking up this wheel is really, really important, because this is what put it in black and white to me, where I could literally go to each one of these categories and go, oh my gosh, he's doing this, he's doing this. He's literally doing every single thing in that category. So I think having this to look at is really pivotal. There's one side of the wheel that's power and control. The other page is an equality part. I think you have that if you scroll down one page, where it talks about what it's like to be in an equal relationship. And none of that was happening at my house. I was controlled in every single way possible, with the children, with what I was wearing, with the money I was spending, with the fact that I had to get permission to go out with my girlfriends. I mean, it was bad. So the big thing I want to say to try to answer your question is what I did is, when I saw this, I took it home, thought about it for a couple of days, talked to my mom about it. And then, because my money was so watched, I was pulling money out. Some banks do this and some banks don't. My bank on the statement doesn't let you know how much petty cash you pulled out at a grocery store. So that's what I started doing. I started pulling $20 out at a time at a grocery store, found a friend who knew a very powerful attorney in Portland, because I knew the second that I decided to make this, it was going to be World War III. So I had to have an attorney that I knew would represent me well. And so I pulled out $20 at a time until I got to the $650 that it cost me to have a consultation with him. And that took me months to save up. I also sold some things on Craigslist, did it very secretly, paid him in cash. and then just met with my lawyer, because that's one of my things I wanted to talk about is knowledge is power. So when you're in an abusive relationship and you talk about leaving or you talk about divorcing, they will threaten everything. I got threatened with everything. I got threatened that he would take the kids. I got threatened that he would take the house, all the money, even the computer he had given me, everything. I would be penniless and homeless. And so I really think that knowledge is power, because then I went to go speak to this attorney. And he told me a couple of things. One, he told me my rights, which was super pivotal again for me, because I knew, I was like, oh, that's funny, I get half of everything, you know. and I just was believing, you know, my husband before, that I would be basically screwed, and had no education. I got married when I was 20, and all I did was get pregnant for 20 years. And so I was a stay-at-home mom and had no job. So that was really important. The other thing he told me was to trust my gut and to keep my antenna up, because at that point I wasn't willing to leave. I wanted to give our marriage more time. I wanted to give it another chance. And he just said to me, guys like him don't change. And so if you're going to stay, that's fine, but plan, be smart, and keep your antenna up. And that's what I did. So he also told me to start documenting. So because of the things I had told him, he's like, I'm telling you, you'll be back here in a year, 4 years, whatever, but be smart. So I started documenting things. I started taking pictures. I started taking videos. I started writing down the things he said and did to the kids all of the time. I kept a huge document that I saved in a very secret place, not even on my phone. I kept all of my images on Dropbox and an account that my mother paid for. All of these things were very secret because I couldn't have anything on my phone. So that's what I started doing, was started planning. And then I trusted someone, one person. I let my mom know that I was thinking about this. And then, so that's what happened. I planned for leaving. I started saving up little money at a time in a hidden account. I had a burner phone where I slowly talked to a lawyer and slowly talked to my girlfriends about things. I started noticing, probably I would say a year before I fell for divorce, I had it. And I decided to tell him I was done. I wasn't doing this anymore. And so he promised, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I know it's horrible. I'm bad. I need to change. I promise I'll change. It was about a 3-month cycle with him where he would do something really crazy, very abusive. And I'd be like, I'm done. And then he would change, but only for a couple of months at a time before something else happened. So anyway, he's like, I'll get us a marriage counselor. And I promise I won't do all these things. So I went to a marriage counselor, and the marriage counselor said to him, you are lucky you have a wife with the stuff you're doing. Like, you are lucky she's even sitting here. And so we signed a contract of all the things he wasn't supposed to be doing. And it was big. It was exhaustive. It was like, you can't accuse me of cheating, you know, because if someone is abusive, what a woman does is she doesn't want anything to do with them. She doesn't want to have any intimacy. She doesn't want to, you know what I mean? None of that, all of that goes away. It's not because they're cheating. It's because I can't stand your hands on me because of what you're doing. And so,
you know what?
I'm
telling you, I think this is such an important, it's such an important topic. And you have, just from this small bit that we've gone over, and then we need more, because you have displayed a patience. I don't know how you could have possibly had a long suffering, you know, even that long planning and the journaling. I think we need to go through some more examples. So will you allow me to do a part 2 with you?
Yeah.
We need more of this. So you guys, this is important. I know that some of you are listening to this only. And so if you want a copy of that abuse wheel, all you have to do is go on Moms in Real Estate and DM me, and I'll get you a copy of that. But Amber, let's do a part 2 because we are out of time. All right. Stay tuned next week and you're going to hear the rest of it. Thank you guys for listening.